Welcome!
Hello there,
Hello!
and welcome to Doctor Who Time and Space.
I am Lewis Moon.
And I'm D Cool.
Hello!
And well, it's an exciting edition of the podcast this time.
Yes.
I'm in Dorset, or Weymouth to be exact, as normal.
And I am in San Diego at the Comic Con.
Ooh. So, as you said at the start, an exciting edition of the podcast this time. Why is that? What have we got lined up?
We have the Series 9 trailer breakdown and our theories and reactions on that very trailer.
We'll be thinking a little bit about the Doctor Who questions and answers session from Comic Con.
We'll be judging the tenure of Terrance Dicks and Barry Letts.
We'll be talking other news, if there's anything else that constitutes news after these great moments.
We will be having our full review on Enemy of the World.
We'll be pressing the magic randomizer button.
And we may or may not have a Who to Face today.
So, how are we going to pack all this into an hour?
I don't know. As I said, we may not have Who to Face this week.
Another thing is, actually, when we were setting up, the reason we're not quite at 4 o'clock is for two reasons. Firstly, we were just doing a little bit of last-minute editing on an exciting thing which will come later.
Yes, you can see that on Miss Liz Moon. Oh, just after this podcast finishes.
Yeah, so are we going to say what it is or not?
Should we?
Well, we'll just say this. It'll be exciting.
Yeah. It links to something that's happened this week.
It does indeed. The other reason that we're late is because then whilst trying to transfer the computer into a place where we can have nice peace and quiet to do the podcast, it died. So it took us a while to load it all up. And it's just occurred to me that the randomizer would have crashed as well. So we'll have to reload that up when we get to it.
Yes.
So should we kick off then with we can start with the trailer.
Yes. So this week, we found out that a Doctor Who trailer was out. Now, we have also found out that Doctor Who will begin at a later time of September 19th.
Okay.
So we thought it would be August.
So it's about a month later than what we were expecting.
Yes. So it's only 2 months away.
Yeah.
But you were saying earlier that it's not too long away.
Yeah.
Someone commented yesterday how many days it was. So today is 71 days till Doctor Who.
See, that sounds longer, doesn't it?
It does sound longer than 2 months.
But I guess if you look at it in another
Yeah.
context, you think about how long it takes us to edit each one of the Mr. Lewis Moon Doctor Who figure adventures. They take about a month each, don't they? So it's only like 2 episodes.
And if they're, as rumoured, going to be an hour each, then it would take longer than it did for Series 8.
That is true. So all in all, we'll get into the trailer itself, but all we had was we had a rumour. Were you expecting the trailer at Comic Con anyway, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I think earlier on that day they flashed some message up to say keep watching about 10:30.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that.
It was exactly 10:30.
Yes.
But I wasn't awake at that time.
No.
So yeah. But I was at the San Diego Comic Con adult.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter.
Yeah.
So if we were to actually look at the trailer then in a bit more detail.
Oh, and there was this, if you watch it later, there's a person in a Grinch costume. Yes. So should we start?
Yeah, so let's do a bit of a trailer breakdown.
So this will be based on casting, filming, rumours, previews, and plain old speculation. So first up, we have a plain old space scene, but it's actually a Star Trek lawsuit waiting to happen. This TARDIS shot is now mandatory in every Doctor Who trailer. That's what I was telling you.
Yeah.
Every Doctor Who trailer, they have a shot of the TARDIS flying past.
I think
I bet if you go to the Series 8 trailer breakdown last year,
Yeah.
Into Darkness, that episode was called,
Yeah.
you can see that there.
I think it's just because it's such an iconic image, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think they always like to start with the TARDIS. Because the Doctor may change, but the TARDIS is still the same.
No, so here's something new though.
Yep.
Note that if you go, you can see all of the pictures.
Yeah.
But there are the roundels back in the TARDIS that Peter Capaldi had always wanted.
So what does
the
that
round
mean?
things.
Explain that.
Thank you, Michael Pickwood. What do you mean?
What do you mean by round things?
Well, in the early years, they had like round things in the TARDIS interior,
Oh right, yeah.
and then they're back, but they're yellow this time.
Ah.
They're not
okay.
white.
Okay, so Peter Capaldi's actually said before, he's mentioned the round things, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's
Oh, right,
mentioned
okay,
the
that's
round
interesting.
things.
Yeah. So the TARDIS will have changed a little bit then from what we saw last year.
Yes, and then we've got a picture of the TARDIS exploding, and it says, "Sadly, the TARDIS is not in the best shape again."
Again.
We don't know what episode this is from. Maybe it's from the premiere.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And then we cut to Clara.
yeah, running away. The first of many shots taken from Toby Whitehouse's spooky two-parter. I think that's the one with the most amount of things in the trailer.
Okay.
It seems that a lot of the episode will take place in the underwater base mentioned in the recent press release.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Now, next, a brave stunt double makes a prompt escape from a flooded corridor.
Okay. So we've got Doctor diving out, is that?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a stunt double.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we've got guest star Sophie Stone, who appears in Whitehouse's two-parter. She's just sitting there. Why do you think she's sitting there?
Don't know. Probably scared.
Yeah, of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that a crown in the next picture? Could this be Odin, who we know appears in episode 5, played by David Schofield?
So this is this weird thing with bright eyes that
Yeah.
you see flashing through. Yeah, maybe. Oh, see, I immediately assumed that was something like a Dalek because you can't really see.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is it?
It isn't a Dalek.
Right.
But talking about that, next up there's Daleks.
Yeah.
A blink and you'll miss it clip, which I didn't see of this bit.
Yeah.
With it exploding.
Okay. Yeah.
There's another Dalek clip, but that's a different one, which is more obvious. But this one's very, very, very quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it shows it getting destroyed.
Yeah.
More on the Daleks later,
Okay.
as we said. Naturally, the freaky eye agenda continues in 2015. Notice the symbols here in the eye.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah.
Perhaps seeing the symbols cause you to lose your eyes, as witnessed with a few of the monsters we see later on in the trailer.
Oh, that is true. Yes, there is. There's definitely an eyeless thing, isn't there? I see. My immediate
Does
reaction
that
when I
see?
saw
That looks Dalek.
my immediate reaction was I thought maybe something it was the coordinates to Gallifrey.
Yeah, I wondered what it was, but what does it look like in there?
Not sure. Difficult to say, but yeah, I mean, there is definitely this eye thing going on in the trailer.
Yeah.
Which presumably is again to do with that same creepy White House story, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. So the Doctor begins his narration. Every time I think it can get more, it can't get more extraordinary. It surprises me. Come on, Doctor. It's a corridor. It's a show. It's a show staple. But this seems to be part of the underwater base, as glimpsed from overhead later on.
What do you think he's talking about there, where he says, "Every time I think it can't get any more extraordinary, it surprises me." Do you think is he talking about his relationship with Clara, maybe?
Yeah.
Or
Missy.
there was the theory we saw earlier on, wasn't it, around the TARDIS? Maybe he's talking about the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And that's always the great thing about these sorts of clips, isn't it? Is that it just leaves you're not completely sure, are you?
No.
It's part of the excitement of it, trying to work out, and then eventually, I mean, it might even be that exact dialogue doesn't sit in the episode. It might be a specially recorded dialogue. So I seem to remember that last time, and you correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am. I'm sure the exact dialogue in the last trailer wasn't in an episode.
Wasn't. Yeah, that it wasn't.
No, it's like a little bit from
Into Dalek.
Yes, but it didn't actually happen in it, did it?
It said something along those lines, but I watched the trailer again afterwards, and it wasn't exactly correct.
Yeah, I seem to remember that. Yeah. Okay.
So next up, we've had the sneak preview of these monsters, and they are either from episode 5 or 6, or both. The girl who died, the woman who lived.
It's the stony-looking things with the metal, like the visors, isn't it?
I swear,
Rectangular
those look like sonic screwdrivers.
You say?
Look.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, on the side of them. Yeah, they do a little bit, don't they?
And the hands, I think, maybe them.
Yeah,
it could be those things.
If you look, there's a comment underneath it on here, on this picture.
Yeah. The scenery and colour palette suggests this is from the opening story battle, as witnessed more in the trailer later. Perhaps a grisly end for one of the soldiers. But look, it looks like them.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, now on first glance, this monster is not dissimilar to the Whispermen. But
it's quite creepy like the Whispermen, isn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, whilst I was editing Behind the Sofa plug the other day, Behind the Sofa, incidentally, if you want to watch it, is on Lewis's channel now.
Yes.
So whilst I was editing that down, there was a bit where we talked about the Whispermen. I put pictures of Whispermen up on the screen, and I thought, my God, those are creepy.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I
but later on, we see not all of these hollowed out eyed things are dressed like they're from the Victorian era. They appear in Toby Whitehouse's two-parter.
You know that for sure? They're definitely from Toby Whitehouse's. Yeah. Do you know, all of a sudden, that becomes the one I'm most intrigued by.
Yeah. It's impossible. I hate it. It's evil. It's astonishing. Perhaps the real impossibility is to have one series without the Daleks. But what is more intriguing is the classic era one behind the more modern variant.
Yeah, I read someone else mention that, so I didn't notice that. I'm not particularly good at those things, but I wonder why that is. Maybe it's a return to Asylum. Well, that was blown up, wasn't it? But it could be an earlier time.
This shot is a head turner. It's difficult to pinpoint an episode, although we do see a gun, so possibly part of the opening episode battle.
Which bit's this then?
The bit with the face, the multiple face.
Yeah. I wonder what that means. That is weird, isn't it? That multiple face creature. I think full stop those creatures, particularly the first one that comes in, the one that it says in it's a little bit like the Whispermen. It's quite unnerving. It's quite a creepy looking character, that one.
And then a space Viking, could it be?
Space Viking. I love the idea there being Vikings in it. Vikings, one of my favourite historical moments.
I know. The sign on the door warns of radioactive matter. This looks like another from Whitehouse's two-parter.
Where does initially that wasn't necessarily one that jumped out at me. But don't you think from the bits in the trailer,
cool.
it seems like it's going to be a really exciting
one. Despite her apparent death, Michelle Gomez reprises her role as Missy in the opening two-parter. Looks like laser sights are on her here. We know that from filming she's being hunted by mysterious men in black.
Interesting.
Look, you can see the laser.
You can see the laser thing, yeah. Okay.
Then the doctor says, I want to kiss it to death. Okay then, Doctor. Moving on.
I'm really intrigued by that dialogue now. What is he talking about? I say we watched the Emergency Awesome channel earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah.
And his theory was that the doctor's talking about the TARDIS.
Yes, yeah.
And I can see that actually. You might well be right there.
Yeah. A trio of very intriguing shots follow from what we believe to be from the opening two-parter. We begin with what must be Skaro. This looks like a CGI version of a 60s era Dalek City.
Now that's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what would take them back to Skaro this early on?
And they said there were tributes to the 60s.
Yeah.
So.
No, that is true.
Then, is this the Master pre-Missy? It wouldn't be the first time we saw a hooded and horribly disfigured version of the Master. So, might we see the change into Missy? The next screen gives another possible clue. They said the woman from Khan. They said the actor who played one of the Khan people was returning in the opener. So this could be, be another appearance of the planet Khan.
Yeah.
The landscape is very similar to what we saw in Night of the Doctor, and notice the red-cloaked figures around. We also have Claire Higgins confirmed to appear in the opener, and she previously played a healer, a member of the Sisterhood of Khan. So could the Master be pulling him again?
Oh, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Actually, I really like that idea. I'm trying to think back now to the Comic Con discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Stephen Moffat said something along the lines of, we'll find out in the next series, when they were talking about Missy.
Yeah.
And where she came from. Pretty sure there was something along these lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because they were talking a bit on there about the relationship between the Doctor and Missy, weren't they?
It's for now obligatory yearly appearance of the orange spacesuit. We know Clara wears this in episode 5 as the as part of the Viking plotline. Later on in the trailer, we see things don't go well for her.
Yeah. Which one are we thinking is the Viking episode? Then?
Episode 5.
Which is
the girl who died.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We'll talk about that at the end of this.
Okay.
Because you know what comes at the end of this trailer.
Yeah. Probably
anyone who's watched the trailer at home will know what happens at the end. So Capaldi's just seen the BBC's budget cuts for Doctor Who Series 10.
Yes.
Missy, are you ready for your close-up? Perhaps this occurs after the possible Khan regeneration.
Yeah. I love that theory, by the way. I love the whole idea, the idea, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's true, or whether it's accurate speculation, we don't know. But the whole idea of Khan seeing the Master regenerating to Missy, that'd be a brilliant way to open the whole series, wouldn't it? What do you think if the first scene was that?
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
Sophie Stone's character is about to be menaced by guest star Colin McFarlane, who is playing one of those creepy hollow-eyed monsters in the White House's two-parter. I think it's going to be a kill-off.
Yeah.
And the same eyes we saw earlier with the symbols.
Oh, yeah. It's just that looks just great, that episode, doesn't it?
Yeah. We get to see a glimpse of this underwater base where we get a good chunk of the trailer action looks to take place. That kind of looks like the place we saw, which they said could be Skaro.
Oh, yeah, it does a bit.
But no, I think that is Skaro.
Was this the first episode they filmed?
What?
The series?
Yeah.
See, this might be why there's a lot of clips from this, because it's probably further down being edited.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably a long way. It's probably virtually ready, if not ready. So they probably used a lot of that. Whereas other bits, they might perhaps they've specially finished editing some bits.
The Doctor's costume tweak we glimpsed from filming of episode 6. In his hand, it looks like the updated 2000-year diary.
Mm.
So it looks like the pair have been separated for a long time at this point. Perhaps the Doctor is stranded in the 17th century village with Clara in space. A follow-on shot from earlier with Clara under threat in the underwater base.
Yeah.
Next up, it's a Zygon from Peter Harness's two-parter, and it's terrorising a little girl. Lovely. Look, this looks like a scene we saw being filmed where the Doctor comes to the park and ends up chasing some Zygons. Oh no! I had the theory it could be Kate Stewart.
Yeah, no, that's right. You did, didn't you? Yeah. There's not right. As in the little girl, not the Zygon.
Yeah, the little girl.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, it could be the Zygon, who's Kate Stewart, and the little girl who's Kate Stewart.
Oh.
And then she's like a good Zygon. She doesn't want to become a Zygon,
Yeah.
so she kills
You never know.
a child.
Yeah. Sounds like a Who to Face.
I know. A few scenes with the TARDIS breaking down again.
Yeah.
Rock on! It's difficult to imagine how this will play into the plot. The Doctor's attire matches up with episodes 5 or 6 this filming.
So this is the guitar playing shot.
Yes.
And 5 or 6, that's the Viking.
The girl who died and the one who lived.
Okay.
It has to be said that the monster designs are brilliant so far. Some have speculated this to be an updated Sea Devil, but it seems more likely it's something with such a radical departure. Could this be the Fisher King that was rumoured to appear as a monster in Toby Whitehouse's two-parter? Perhaps this is at the heart of the Hollow Dyed monsters.
Tell you what, that episode just looks fantastic if it is. I mean, it's monsters galore, isn't it? It's like a monster heaven.
We doubt Capaldi wants to kiss it to death, though, whatever it is. Whose eye is this? The next shot reveals. Clara is in space, and it looks like a spot of bother.
Do you think if you had that orange space costume on, do you think we're going to get some sort of link back in with the relative of
Orson?
Yeah, Orson.
He didn't die, did he?
No.
The monster is chasing Clara and the Doctor, despite some fan speculation that it's not a Cyberman behind. In the HD close-up, you can see it is another of the Hollow Dyed things.
They look great. I love these Hollow Dyed things.
I know. The battle matches with Capaldi's hint and promo pic where he says the Doctor arrives on a very traditional battlefield and tries to help a victim of war, but it backfires. So this is a depiction of Sky's 1,000-Year War. Could this lend credence to the Mirror rumour? And I won't go on to that. We know that from filming that this pair meet up without the Doctor. Missy has a task for Clara that appears to be in the Doctor's best interests.
We're definitely getting the impression that Clara and Missy, at least for a while, are going to have to work together. I got this sort of image in my head, and a little bit like what we saw in Legopolis, where the Master, in that instance, cocks things up really badly and then ends up having to work with the Doctor.
Yeah. Clara doesn't look too impressed by the Doctor's sunglasses. We know the Doctor wears these in Peter Harness's two-parter during a parachute jump, but are they more than just simple sunglasses?
Maybe they're glasses where you can see whether somebody's a Zygon or not. Maybe they can actually tell whether it's the human or the Zygon version. How about that?
Yeah.
Magic sunglasses. A bit like X-ray specs.
I'm the Doctor and I save people. And that's the title. And more often that not is using the Sonic.
Yeah, that's it.
This shot looks like it takes place from the opening episode again and matches with the first promo shots on the battlefield. September may come as a surprise to those expecting a repeat of last year, but at least the show will actually head into darker evenings earlier in the run. Now,
I tend to agree with that. I know you were cursing because it's later, but that's only because you're excited for it to start. When it gets near the end of the season, you'll be grateful because it's still going on. But I actually agree with that. I think it's good it's coming in once the night starts getting darker. Because you shouldn't be watching Doctor Who in the light. You should be hiding behind the sofa watching it in the darkness.
Now, you think it ends, but then, who is this highway woman? It's Aria and her latest disguise. Maisie Williams' role is shrouded in mystery, and the trailer only makes things more intriguing. And it said, what took you so long, old man? And then, we'll chat about this in a minute. So we can introduce the pair, know each other. From filming, Williams' character spans 2 episodes over 2 different time periods. which could be it. But does this connection go even deeper? Yep, that's everyone's face about that. That's everyone's face about now. What
That's
Peter
the
Capaldi thought.
confused Peter Capaldi look.
And that's a wrap for this fantastic first look. If you've noticed anything else, let us know in the comments.
So first up, before we get on to the comments, what was your impression of the trailer?
A very, very good trailer. When I watched it, I
Yeah.
watched it straight away as I got on, and when I watched it, I thought, that was good. Let's watch it again.
Yeah, it was. Because you take more in, don't you? Because the first time it's all a bit of a blur, isn't it?
Yeah.
What? Once you got to the end of it and you watched it again, what bit jumped out as you thinking, I really want to find out more about this?
The bit with Macy Williams at the end.
Yeah, there's definitely that. And what monster jumped out at you?
Oh, I love all the monsters. I love the one with the heads. I love the ones with the hollow eyes with the mask.
Yeah, it's that mask. I think looks great. Right near the beginning when you get that sort of creepy, like they said, a Whisper Man type character walking along.
Oh, and Zygons as well. I think there's going to be some really strong new villains.
I think you could be right. Yeah. I think one thing's for sure, we're going to get villains aplenty, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to get lots of monsters in it, and
Definitely
brilliant-
the Toby Whitehouse one.
yeah, that one. Well, I kept on saying it when we were talking through the trailer, but that episode just really jumps out at you, and I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be really edgy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, should we talk? Do you want to go to the comments, or do you want to talk a little bit about the Maisie Williams bit at the end?
Yeah, let's talk about the Maisie Williams bit.
So,
Now-
what do you think?
Now, we've heard rumours that it could be Susan, and there were hints in this Comic-Con panel that it could be.
See, I actually thought it was, because I mean, I didn't have the. I never have these great ideas myself, but I'd read some comments early on after looking at the trailer where people were saying that the answer that she gives would be a really good answer in the context of the old William Hartnell line, "One day I will come back." But then the very fact that when it went to the Comic-Con session and somebody asked a question about which assistant would the Doctor most like to see, and he said Susan, and I don't think he would have said that if it was going to be Susan.
Yeah.
Or if
He would have said, look, so Jane.
yeah, it didn't look like Moffat was giving him sort of "I'm going to kill you" type eyes. I'm sure he would have done if Peter had given it away.
Yeah.
So probably not. The other theories I'd seen about it was the Doctor's daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Jenny, yeah.
I think that could be a
Yeah.
possible one.
I said about the Marnie earlier on, but then I decided it probably wasn't.
I said Missy.
Yeah. Yes. Could be one of the other Claras.
Could be Clara. That's
Could be Clara
yeah.
Dracoff. Could also be what was I thinking? Well, I think the point I made was it may be because it's the second part of a two linked stories.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a character that he met in the previous
Yeah.
story. He recognises who it is straight away.
With
So
the
you-
sunglasses.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, so it could be anything, really, couldn't it? I wonder if there's going to be a season-long arc this time, or not.
Yeah, I think there will be. But as with Series 8, you don't know until you watch it. Because when Series 8 was on, you thought, when the Missy thing was on, you thought, she's so weird.
Yeah.
You thought, it was just so weird to have that in it. You
I'm trying to think
never could expect that bit.
Did we have any sight of Missy in the trailer?
No, but we knew Michelle Gomez was going to be in it, but she was meant to be playing the gatekeeper of the Nethersphere.
Ah, right. Okay, that's fine. So comments.
Now someone says if this was a teaser trailer, does this mean we were getting another trailer?
Oh, that's true.
The hooded man could be the Big Finish master. The eye that is opening around the beginning of the trailer. Am I the only one seeing Danny Pink's eye?
Mm.
Well, I think I'm the first to mention this, but the two-faced man-woman is quite clearly a Muto, as they existed during the 1000 War on Skaro.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, interesting theory.
Am I the only one here who thinks Maisie is playing the Doctor's daughter? I mean, it's what makes sense to me than Susan returning.
I love the idea of Susan returning there. I mean, the other thing that made me think about that was that comment early on where they were talking about some harkbacks to the William Hartnell era. Or was that just in the opening episode? There was definitely some mention. It's only okay. Well, in that case, it probably thwarts my story idea then. Yeah.
So I think it would be fitting for Susan to come back. She was the very first companion in the secrets she must know about the Doctor. And finally, is it just me, or is the top half of the TARDIS interior missing in these shots? Are these shots before VFX?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
It actually looks really mega, doesn't it? It looks like a sort of a cinematic movie trailer.
Yeah.
Really big blockbuster. I mean, you'd think it's a really big budget. So yeah, very exciting trailer.
Well, I'm just gonna read what it says below the trailer.
Okay.
Because I found this trailer via Doctor TV.
Okay.
So, exploding with epic and thrilling adventures, Doctor Who returns to BBC One on Saturday, the 19th of September, in the 9th series of the hit show. The Doctor is joined by Clara Oswald for time travel on a cinematic scale. Having the time of their lives, the pair meet new and old monsters and go on a journey that takes them to deadly alien planets, creepy underwater bases, Viking villages, a global Zygon uprising, and leads them through hidden alien dens to the very end of time itself.
Fantastic.
Meeting monsters old and new, the Doctor will come face to face with Missy, a city of Daleks, deadly mercenary called the Myra, terrifying ghosts, and far more. Having filmed in Cardiff since January, Peter Capaldi says, soaring through all of time and space, Series 9 sees the Doctor throw himself into life with a new hunger for adventure. The cosmos is there for the taking, thrilling, epic, and enticing, and his to play in, but he's almost reckless in his abandon. It's almost like he's running from something that if it ever catches him, will turn his life upside down. Previously announced and taking up a guest role in the new series will be young new talent Maisie Williams, having already achieved global success for her role as Arya Stark in the fantasy drama series Game of Thrones. Michelle Gomez returns to play the Doctor and Clara in this series opener, and Unit are back with Gemma Redgrave and Ingrid Oliver returning to Series 9, following their popular entrance in Series 8. Also confirmed as guest cast in the series are Rebecca Front, Rufus Hound, Paul Kaye, Jovian Wade, and Sophie Stone. The show's 9th series has been written by lead writer Stephen Moffat, Toby Whitehouse, Jamie Matheson, Peter Harness, Mark Gatiss, and new writers to Doctor Who, Sarah Dollard and Catherine Tregenna. So that means Mark Gatiss is writing the
confirmed.
Directed by Hetty MacDonald, Daniel O'Hara, Ed Bazalgette, Daniel Nethiam. Oh no, I have to pronounce this name again. Justin Molotnikov.
Well done, that man.
Rachel Tallahay, and produced by Tracy Simpson, Derek Ritchie, Nikki Williams, and Peter Bennett. The star-studded cast continued to shoot in Roselock Studios, Cardiff Bay, having previously filmed in Tenerife and South Wales locations at Cowent. I can't pronounce that.
Something Welsh.
Yeah, something Welsh. Let's see. Doctor Who has had a decade of success and is one of BBC's one's most highly regarded shows. The much-loved brand is already a phenomenon, delivering on a global scale, with the last series consolidated. Yeah, average at 7.4 million.
Fantastic.
Doctor Who is a BBC Cymru Wales production for BBC One and will be back on air this September. It used to say this autumn.
Had to change it now.
And now Colin McFarlane, other guest casts. There's a lot of other guest casts.
Yeah, and we probably mentioned them before, haven't we?
We have mentioned all of them in other stuff before.
So have you got anything else to add on the trailer?
Not on the actual trailer.
Okay. Yeah. It's exciting though, isn't it? It's a very good trailer.
Yeah.
Very, very good trailer.
We've got some teasers at Comic-Con.
Okay, well, as you were there,
Yes.
perhaps you want to share with us your Comic-Con experience.
So I'll read this from my tablet. Our tablet.
Mm-hmm.
Ahead of today's Comic-Con panel. This is a bit behind.
Yeah.
The other day's Comic-Con panel, Peter Capaldi, Jenna Coleman and Michelle Gomez have participated in a few interviews and some interesting hints on Series 9 have emerged. Before the trailer, this was.
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi spoke more about the recent teaser image, stating the picture hints at a battle. It hints at the Doctor being in a very traditional battlefield in which he tries to help a victim of war, but it backfires. Jenna Coleman spoke about Clara and the Doctor. We have a lot of very fun adventures to look forward to. Clara and the Doctor are very much a team, very much together, battling and facing the world. So all is gravy for now.
Sorry, just going back to that, when you talk about that battlefield.
Yeah.
Are we thinking about a Earth battle, or are we thinking Skaro?
Skaro, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like the thing from the Time War.
Okay.
Because not Time War, the war against the Thals and the Carlads.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Makes perfect sense.
So where did I get to? Wait a minute. Michelle Gomez, meanwhile, spoke about Missy. We've managed to make Missy quite well-rounded and even maybe more human than the Doctor. And that was my challenge. I didn't want her to be the pantomime villain. There is a little dance that they are doing there which is quite subtle, and their relationship is more human than has gone before with the Master and the Doctor. It's almost domestic.
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
You said to me a theory about that earlier on. About Missy being more human.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it said that she could use the chameleon arch.
Yeah.
And she could become a human.
Be interesting. Interesting theory.
Yeah.
Interesting theory. All speculation, of course.
And that's why, and maybe she's Maisie Williams, and that's why she says, because she's been abandoned on Earth or something. They could say, that's why she says, it's been a long time, old man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my theory.
Okay.
So you can see a Digital Spy video on the show notes. Capaldi and Coleman talk about one of their favourite stories this year. We do an episode with some Vikings, says Jana. Yes, we like Vikings. Seeing Vikings on the spaceship is so incredibly Doctor Who-ish, adds Capaldi. Jenna started on that before I did. I walked in and saw you in a spacesuit on a spaceship with a pile of Vikings, and it just looked absolutely amazing. On Peter's wish to bring back the Mondasian Cybermen, I'm not doing very well in my crusade, but then I may be surprised.
So the Vikings then. So who's written the Viking story? Do we know?
Yeah, it's Stephen Moffat and Jamie Matheson.
Okay. Wow, that sounds like a brilliant thing, doesn't it? After last time, after the two, the stories that the two of them have given us over the years.
So, and in Jamie Matheson's side last year.
Yeah.
So they've commented on Maisie Williams. Jenna says she's utterly brilliant, as you would expect, and it's a very surprising and intriguing storyline with her connection to us and her connection to the Doctor. Peter added, "It's quite cosmic what she does. She's wonderful. And what's great about Maisie is she metamorphosizes, and she's so different. The way she acts with different aspects of her character is very exciting and very compelling."
How about her as a future? When Thrones finishes in a couple of seasons, maybe she should come back as a companion.
Yeah, and in a Q&A video with fans, Capaldi has asked if he's more comfortable in the role, the funniest moment on set this year, and if Gallifrey and K9 will return.
Interesting. I was just looking at the time on there, and what time did we start the podcast today?
Quarter past.
So we've actually been 45 minutes talking about the trailer and Comic-Con.
40, wouldn't it?
Yeah, about that, yeah. So I was just rounding up.
4:50. It's 4:55.
Yeah. Yes. So, Comic-Con, the actual interviews were quite interesting, weren't they?
Yeah, it was.
I thought there was a lot of good humour on it. As you mentioned, the hardest bit was trying to keep a straight face when somebody came on just as the Grinch.
That was funny.
I can't remember what the question was asked now, but had a really strange hand movement thing going on. But I think full stop, I think there was some. It was a very, very light-hearted, wasn't there? Some good jokey comments coming through.
Yeah, you can watch that in the show notes or on Mistress Moon at WeBelieve.com.
Yeah, so we won't talk about it in great detail, but it's worth people watching, isn't it?
Yes,
definitely worth people watching. Get a good insight into what's happening, and I always think Stephen Moffat's always interesting to listen to as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to know, going back to the trailer again, very briefly, what's going on with the Doctor's hair?
I know.
It's expanded, isn't it?
So the Doctor has funny hair, a guitar, and sunglasses.
Yeah, I think he's having a bit of a
wacky
personality crisis going on here.
He is, yeah.
So, does that round up our news then?
Yes. So, possibly Zygon finding sunglasses. I like that idea.
It's good, isn't it? I'll tell you what. If they don't use that, we should use that in a future figure adventure.
Yeah. Although we've spoiled it. It does happen.
We'll just edit that out.
Yeah.
Edit that out, and then we'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. I'd love to have a pair of Zygon identifying glasses. There's a few people I know that could possibly be Zygons.
Day of the Doctor. I hope that comes up before the Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah, and the randomizer.
No, before the Zygon two-part comes on.
Yeah.
Because, before the Magician's Apprentice, because we won't have any while Series 9 is going on, because we'll be watching Series 9 episodes instead. Yeah,
indeed we will. Unless possibly, I guess we could have a randomizer and just do it over a longer period of time to watch them on Wednesdays.
I don't think we should, because then we'd have 2 episodes to review and it'd be too much to review and remember.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, well, what's the next segment of this week's show?
So, next up we have Judge My Tenure.
Okay.
So we've got to calm down from that exciting period of the show.
Okay.
And today we look at the 1970 to 1974, which was led by Barry Letts and Terrance Dicks.
Okay. You always like Terrance Dicks is like a really important name in movie history, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, who was the Doctor during this tenure?
John Pertwee.
Okay. Does it cover the whole of Pertwee's period?
Yes,
Yeah.
this one does, but next week will be the first one in when it doesn't cover the whole period of the Doctor.
Okay. So, what classic episodes did we see come through in this period of time?
We saw quite a few classic ones. We saw Inferno, the Diamonds. Let's think. What really classic ones? Spearhead from Space.
Yeah.
One of your particular favourites, Colony in Space.
Yeah.
The Green Death, Planet of the Spiders. Carnival of Monsters. You could name loads.
Again, thinking about Colony in Space, every time when I look at the chart that we keep of our randomised episodes, I seem to move that up one.
So by the end of it, it will be
It'll
number
top,
one.
won't it? It'll be top by the end. Yeah, so well, it brings us a lot of things, doesn't it? Because I guess what it did is we've probably talked about this a little bit in the Doctor to my tenure, but it brought that more action filled Doctor, didn't it? It's sort of all of a sudden you could do karate chopping and things like that.
I know.
Also, you also brought us colour.
He did, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's the first colour tenure.
It's quite a change.
Yeah. So, what sort of things really jump out at you about this particular period of Who history?
Obviously, it's colour.
Yeah.
It just feels more exciting. It feels like there are quite a lot of really good stories, really strong stories.
Yeah.
And it just makes it, all of the things about it joined together make a really good period for Who.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things that jump out to me, which is that we start to get the Master. We talked a bit about the Master and Missy today, but that character really takes the fore, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We also start to, perhaps the monsters go up a little bit as well.
They do.
The quality of the monsters.
Yeah.
You know, obviously still a little bit
Tacky.
Yeah, a little bit
Like
classy,
those creatures in the Three Doctors, but still Omega is amazing.
Yeah.
So he makes up for it.
Yeah. So it sort of ups it, doesn't it? Really, it becomes more sci-fi, I would suggest. Even though for a big chunk of the period of time, obviously they're based on Earth.
Yeah. Are there any bad bits about the series?
About this period of time, I'm not sure there really is.
We always struggle for bad bits.
We do, yeah. I think when we get on to the 80s, we sort of it gets a bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I guess
Everything.
I guess the very nature of the fact that it was from the 70s, there is that fact that the some of it has dated a little bit in terms of what technology can provide, but it's not dated in many ways as much as some of the 80s stuff. So I think it's a really good tenure.
Yeah, it is.
Very good tenure.
Yes. Should we move on to our normal questions?
Yes.
Now? So, what was the best year of the tenure? Can I answer?
You answer this because you're always better at it. I never remember what year's what.
I'm going to say 1973 because it was the 10th anniversary year.
Okay.
It was the first multi-Doctor story.
Okay.
It had great stories like the Three Doctors, Carnival of Monsters, Planet of the Daleks. About to watch Frontier in Space actually, and the Green Death.
Ah. Excellent. Okay. Well, I wouldn't be able to argue with that because I can never remember what comes where.
But there have been, all of them have great series. The first series achieved a lot. The second series introduced the Master and Joe and Mike Yates. The third series had some really, really exciting adventures. The last series, astounding as well.
Can I pose something for you?
Yep.
Earlier on, I think it might have been in the Comic Con discussions, somebody was talking about how they're looking forward for Capaldi's second year because it always takes a while for the Doctors to, the first season with the Doctors is always about them coming to terms with their regeneration.
I think that was in the Doctor Who fan show.
Might have been, yeah. So related to that, I wanted to ask you, are there any Doctors where you believe that their first series is their best series? Obviously the Christopher Eccleston year. But in itself, I think actually that one doesn't count in many ways because you don't know how much earlier than that he regenerated. So he seems fairly comfortable with his body anyway, doesn't he?
What Doctor?
The Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, and Peter Capaldi you can't judge it because you don't know what Series 9's going to be like.
No, indeed.
But
what do
you think is going to be better, Series 8 or Series 9?
It's difficult because Series 8 was it's probably my favourite. But the trailer just is really exciting.
Yeah.
So I mean, more generally, are there any where the first series is the best? Well, maybe
I don't think so.
Maybe that's a discussion for a future show because we've got quite a lot to cram in. Perhaps we should one day sort of look at the first few episodes after regeneration and talk a little bit about the Doctors coming to terms with their new characters.
We'll do, because now I know how long it is before Series 9. I can start mapping out how many filler podcasts we need.
Yes.
I call them filler podcasts when we don't have any episodes to review, apart from new episodes.
Yeah.
Don't count them.
That is true.
But call them filler podcasts. Today wasn't really a filler podcast though, because we had the trailer breakdown.
Yeah. So, what other standard questions do you have?
We have best writer.
You're going to have to answer that.
Robert Holmes.
Yeah. Okay. Which ones did Robert Holmes do?
He did Spearhead from Space, Terror of the Autons, Carnival of Monsters, The Time Warrior, maybe one more. Wait a minute. I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, that is quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stories. Best episode.
Best episode.
I'm stuck between
Colony in Space, obviously.
I'm stuck between Inferno and The Diamonds.
Yeah, I can't really remember a lot of the John Pertwee ones, other than the ones we've been watching recently. So at the moment, I'm going to do a Colony in Space. I just love it. I'm out on my own there a little bit. I know I'm out on my own colony. But,
I expect you're not. I expect there's at least one other person who's like favourite. Because
probably the person that wrote Colony in Space, or that person's mum.
If you think about it, there are thousands, millions of Doctor Who fans.
Yeah.
In the world, there has to be one, because there's only like 20 John Pertwee stories, so there has to be someone who likes who thinks Colony in Space is their favourite, apart from the writer.
Yeah, no, that's probably right. Any other standard questions?
Yes, best achievement. Well, I think colour.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, probably is best achievement.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the best achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if that's our thoughts on that particular tenure, what's the next tenure?
We have Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes, where we'll go into the horror aspect of Doctor
Who. And possibly,
I think that's
the strongest ever period.
Yeah.
In many respects.
I think that's 1975 to 77.
Okay.
Or late 1974.
Okay. But it'd be a good one to chat about because it's a very strong period of Who.
It is.
So, phew. We're getting towards the end of the show.
It's been a busy show.
To cram in, yeah.
And so next we're going to go to our Enemy of the World review.
Okay. Which I guess will probably be relatively short because we talked about it last week anyway, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, Enemy of the World. Giving you a very brief rundown of the story. This is a Patrick Troughton Second Doctor episode with the companions Jamie and Victoria.
Yes.
Um,
We're not going to have a Who to Face, by the way.
no, I don't think we'll have time. will
No,
we?
we're not anyway.
So, so that's the era we're talking about. They land on this. I never actually. I didn't look at me. Are they actually on Earth?
Yeah.
They are on Earth. Okay, I don't remember if it's Earth or a different planet. But anyway,
It's in the future.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're in this. They land on Earth. They're messing about in the water a little bit, and then the Doctor gets targeted by these would-be assassins. And the reason he gets targeted is because it just turns out that he looks somewhat like the dictator, Salamander, not Scaramanga.
Scaramanda.
Yeah, Salamander. Yeah, a perfect double. As a result of this double,
Same actor with a Mexican accent.
yeah, he's soon latched onto by some renegades who want to use him as a double in order to infiltrate the actual Salamander's operations.
Yeah. Astrid and Giles.
Yeah, and it's what it turns out, without giving too much away, is Salamander's effectively leading two lives.
Yeah.
He's leading a life where he's very much seen as being a public hero, but actually there's a far darker side to him, which comes out really in episode 4.
Yeah.
When we find out where he goes somewhere.
Yeah.
And
that's a good bit.
Yeah. That's one of the things I really loved about this episode, is it's sort of a bit like The Hand of Fear in many ways, but not quite to the same extent. But you've got like one story that then just drifts off into a second story.
You think it's a really fast-moving story, but actually it's slow because it doesn't move on to the proper story until episode 4.
Yeah, no, indeed. Do I need to say anything else about it? Probably not really, without ruining it. And I wouldn't want to ruin it because it's really great.
It's unexpected as well.
Yeah.
Well, it may be a bit expected at sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, what were your thoughts on it?
A exceptional story. On our listings on the randomizer so far, this may surprise you, but it has beat Caves of Androzani and Waters of Mars on our listings.
Yeah.
And even it's beat Colony in Space for him.
Well, I don't know, until next week. When I shift Colony in Space up one more level. Yeah, so it actually makes it, of all the ones we've watched, our second favourite.
Yeah, it does.
I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of all the ones we've watched since the randomizer, not out of all of the episodes. I love it. I think it's brilliant. It's got a really nice pace to it. It's a really interesting story. I love what happens with it, with the second part of the story. I love the fact that
only came in on Wednesday's 4th part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The whole the way some of the characters change as well over the story is really interesting.
Develop.
Yeah, it's a really good one for
it
for
is.
That. Other
definitely
questions?
Recommend it.
Yeah, definitely, really definitely, and obviously it's a relatively new discovery in terms of one that was deleted for a long time.
It was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now.
Yeah, really, really good. What other questions do we normally ask?
What you mean, like, are we moving on to the scores, or are we moving on? Are we actually on the proper review?
I think probably move on to the scores. Yeah.
Okay, so monsters.
Not a monster as such.
No, villains. Then.
Villains. We've got villains in this one. I think I know he's got a tacky accent.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a
good idea. Good idea.
But I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Character development.
I think there's a lot.
Yeah,
not so much. Not from the Doctor and the companions.
Yeah, but as we said, this is one of the most character development episodes.
just because there's a thin line between good and bad, I think,
Yeah.
and it changes a little bit at times. I think and it's really strong.
Yeah,
Really strong.
it is.
Because actually, when you look at it, I think there's 3 characters in it where you will make your decision of whether they're good or bad, and that might change at different times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, other questions?
Oh yeah. Excitement.
Excitement. Is it exciting? It's exciting. The first part's
The first
exciting.
part's exciting. First part's probably the best part.
Yeah. Right, you say that. Maybe, but 4, 5, and 6 I really love as well.
I know, but
Uh,
I love the action. In the first part.
definitely there's a lot of action in the first part. I would say it's more intriguing than exciting, but it's so intriguing that it scores really highly.
Yeah. And final question.
Final question.
Pace.
Pace. Slow but engaging.
Slow and fast at the same time, I'd say.
Yeah.
Overall.
It gets a 9 for me,
Okay.
and a high 9 of that.
Ooh.
Maybe a 9.5. It's not far away from a perfect episode.
It's
What don't you like about it? Anything?
not. Oh. Time it can be a bit. I don't know. There was one point. You may disagree with me here, but there was one point when it seemed to be repeating itself a little bit from earlier in the story.
No.
So only a tiny bit.
Mhm.
That was my only problem with it.
Yeah.
But it's only very slightly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good roundup.
Yes.
Which probably brings us on to the last part of the show,
Yeah.
which is the moment that everybody looks forward for, where we open up the macro on the randomizer and we select the episode that we are going to be watching. Well, actually, not on the Wednesday because you're not going to be around, are you? But what we'll be watching next and talking about, hopefully, next week.
Yeah. No, well, next. This is going to be really awkward. How we're going to do this?
Well, let's press the randomizer and then we can work
If
out.
it's a 4-parter,
Yeah.
I don't know how we would do it.
Yeah, but let's press the
We'd have to
randomizer.
watch it in 2 weeks, whatever it is, if it's more than 2 parts. Or
So, just to remind everyone, very, very briefly, randomizer, spreadsheet, every episode of Who ever. We press the button, randomizes which episode we're going to watch next.
Yes.
So, let's get to it. Let's
Right.
press the randomizer.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait. I only watched this one recently.
Okay.
Can I press it
Yeah,
again?
press it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So,
Another Patrick Troughton one.
a second. Yeah. So we waited for ages for a
Like
second
with
one,
John Pertwee.
and another one's come. So, what is it? What's come up?
What's come up is the wait a minute, let me save that. It's the Moon Base, which is the
Moonbase.
second Cyberman episode. It's our first Ben and Polly episode to come up.
Okay, I'm excited about that because I don't think I've ever seen this.
You
episode.
haven't.
Or if I have, I would have been very
You
young.
haven't. No, not with me anyway.
Definitely not. How many parts is it?
It's 4 parts.
4 parts,
But
okay.
that's the complicated thing. What do we do?
Well, we'll work that out. We may be talking about it next week or the week
It
after,
won't be
depending on
because
unless we watch 4 parts.
no.
Let
I was getting bored enough watching 2 parts in a day, let alone 4 parts.
Well, in that case, we'll watch it. So next week we won't have randomizer. It'll be the week after that. So we'll get there.
Yes.
So
Maybe it would result in watching one on the Saturday and one on a Wednesday.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we're working. So that's us done. I think
Yes.
everything this week.
Yes.
I hope you've enjoyed it. It's certainly been an action-packed one.
Yes,
A
it
lot
has.
to fit in. We're going to go off, have some tea now, and then probably talk about the trailer some more.
Yeah. Because when I watched the trailer, literally all I talked about on the Friday was the trailer.
Yeah. So there you have it. Obsessed. So until next week.
I'm going to be at Comic Con. Well, no, I'm going to be somewhere else next week
Okay.
on my next stage. No, but let's see. Will I be back next week? I will be back next week, I think.
Ooh.
From my trip the world.
So we'll also
2 more stops.
So we'll have a little bit of a talk about the moon base. We'll have Doctor Who news.
Oh yeah. We'll have a Judge by Tenure on Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes.
We won't be pressing the randomizer,
Probably not. No.
but we will be pressing the Who to Face button.
Yes, and is that it?
That's it.
Yeah. It's going to be less exciting than this week. We hope you've enjoyed this show, which was filled with 40 minutes of news and then trailer breakdown.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.